Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited about today's video because I am doing a super fun collab with my friend Juliana Michaels. So we are using the same products. We didn't know what each other made. We went off into our crafty world and we made our cards, and we are showing you all that we can get from just these three particular products. So this is what I'm using. This is what Juliana's using. We have the items listed up on the screen there. And really the whole point is to encourage you to stretch your stash and don't just use them one time for one project. Pull them out, have fun, just get creative, and just use them in any way that you feel moved to use them. So I'm excited to see what Juliana came up with, and I'm gonna share with you my project. So first thing I did was put some ink down onto my glass mat, and I'm just making some backgrounds, okay? So that's two different ways. The one on the right was more of a dry technique. I did not wet the cardstock first. I am using watercolor cardstock for all three of these projects. Yes, okay, just wanted to verify that in my brain. Now I'm going to make this next one a little bit more deliberate with what I'm doing, but still super fun and easy, and often a technique I forget about. So I'm gonna mask off this watercolor cardstock here by just using some frog tape, and I am gonna reinforce it right around the edges there so I can try to get as clean a line that I can. I want a frame that I'm creating with this tape. I took the same three colors and I am going to just watercolor them down onto the cardstock. It was literally no rhyme or reason how I did this. I think at one point I thought there was too much yellow in the center and then it didn't blend enough, and I was like, you know what? We're going with it because this is super fun and you never know what you're going to get when it comes to watercoloring. So just enjoy the process. I did put 2 layers on though. So I went back, added a little bit more of that pinkish red color, and then also the yellowish and the pink. Okay, so easy, right? Super simple. It kind of looks like a mess. It won't in a second, but I am going to pull back the frog tape. When you're doing this, I did not have any tearing at all, but you want to make sure that you pull the tape back onto itself. So I'm slowing this down so you see what I'm talking about, and you can kind of see this process, how clean it was. I eyeballed the tape. If you want to measure it, by all means, do that, but I was okay with my result. I think it's pretty close to perfect. So there is the finished one. Okay, so let's move into the next step here. This is how I store my grip mat. This grip mat is the one that you get out of the stamp wheel from Altenew. You can also buy it separately. Very, very similar to the waffle flower grip mat. Now I'm going to be putting down my cardstock here. Oh, why did I show you that envelope? Because I store it in that plastic mesh envelope. It's not mesh with holes. It has the plastic coating, and it helps keep my grip mat nice and free from dust. And I love it, and it's faster than removing acetate every time. I'm going to pull out this Cosmic Shimmer because it's new and because it's super pretty. No other reason. I'm going to use my stencil there, and the stencil is the little boxes, I think it's called, from scrapbook.com, and I'm going to use that stencil on all 3 of my cards, but in different ways. So the first way, traditionally, just putting some embossing paste through it, which was that Cosmic Shimmer. Beautiful, beautiful paste. Next way is to cover the whole background, but using different colors. So I skipped some of that, but I did use all 3 colors on the background. So now I have the ink laid out on the background, but then the stencil kind of pulls those colors back in more boldly. And then the third way is I am just going to put the stencil over it, and I'm just going to get the very corners of the lower left and upper right. That's it. And I don't care. I didn't even clean my thing. That's it. Just a little bit of a touch of that stencil right in the middle of that. So I love that addition. Okay, now next thing I'm pulling out are the dies here. Again, the name of those dies will be up on the screen. And I am going to pull out, I think, most of them. I am obsessed with this vellum lately. I am using it on everything. You probably see a couple of my cards posted that are very similar because it's so easy to work with. It die cuts like a dream. It heat embosses incredibly well and faster than cardstock. So case in point, what I'm doing here is I'm just touching the edges of the leaves with that sticky ink. The sticky ink is clear, and it's going to allow the embossing powder to then stick where I want it. So I'm going to go through with my leaves, and I'm just dipping it into my embossing powder. I store my embossing powder that I use the most in containers like this. The lids don't come off, and it gives me enough space to put my cards actually into the container as well. So that's just something I get asked a lot about. Now I heat set it with my heat tool, and we're ready to kind of put those aside and work on the next. Let me show you a close-up here of those. I love it. I love this vellum. It's so cool. And when you do the heat embossing part of it, you can actually put your adhesive behind that gold, therefore hiding your adhesive through the vellum. Okay, now we have our card. I'm going to do a little bit more die cutting though. I'm going to take a rectangle stitch die and I'm going to run that through my die cutting machine. This cleans up the edges, gives me a nice little stitched look, and just kind of, you know, allows it to be framed on the card base a little bit better. Now I'm going to take 2 of those 3 colors, I believe, with a brown, and I'm going to make a butterfly die. I'm going to basically run my die through this little colored piece here. It doesn't have to be perfect, because when you die cut an intricate die like the one I'm about to use, you can pop out all those little pieces on the butterfly and you're not going to see any kind of smudging or blotching. It's going to come out beautiful. So there's my butterfly. You'll get a close-up in just a minute. I took a gold marker just to kind of add a few dots, and then I kind of got inspired by this because I put the dots down the middle of the body and decided that I'm going to do something different with the body of that butterfly in just a minute. So really the 3 things we're using are the stencil, the leaf dies, and butterfly dies. If you have anything comparable to that in your stash, then hopefully this video and Juliana's video encourages you to pull them out and have some fun. So I'm going to go and just place down 2 of those leaves. I'm going to keep the other ones for other projects. And I'm going to place just the glue on the middle of the body here as I place it down onto my card base. I'm going to hold it for a second though, because I don't want to smash it down. I kind of like that the butterfly is like floating up off the paper. I think that's super fun. Once I get that done, I'm going to pull out my embellishments, judge-free zone. I have a lot of embellishments. This is only one of 5 drawers. So if you're curious how I store my embellishments, I love it this way. It might not be your jam. I have another option for that in a video coming soon. But this is my jam because I'm using them a lot more. I'm pulling out a drawer and I'm seeing what I have, and it's easy to access them and so on and so forth. So I put those little gold pearls right in the center of the body. I get smart in a little bit and do it better in an upcoming butterfly. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to pop up my sentiment here right in the corner. We didn't include a sentiment or stamp set with our 3 products because we figure that's something a lot of people have, and you never know what sentiment you're going to be in the mood to put onto your card or what you need. So we just kind of left that off. So I added this cute little sentiment there, and that will finish off that card. I really loved the way this came out. It's not a clean and simple card technically, but I feel like it has a simplistic look. Okay, next up, we're going to take the framed watercolor piece. We're going to bring that back in, and we are going to not stamp. We're not going to stamp. We're going to take the negative from the die cut, and we're going to stencil with it. So I am trying to even stretch my stash even more and use die cut leftovers as ways to stencil. So you can notice I did not get smart in the beginning, and I started to stencil that with my foam tool, and it got a smudge onto the card panel, but it's not going to matter because I'm going to cover it later. But just watch what you're doing and make sure you're masking off what you don't want to get inky. Okay, so now I have that kind of coming off to the side. I'm going to color up this other butterfly in just black ink. Could have done it, just cut it out of black cardstock. That's fine too, but it was kind of an afterthought. And then I'm going to brush away some of the embossing powder, from there, because I only want the edges of the wings to have the gold on it. I'm going to heat set that, and now I have sort of this black and gold-ish kind of look. My daughter said it looked vintage, which, yeah, I could suppose I see that. I don't usually use those colors ever, black and gold, but I thought it was really kind of nice as it came together. I'm going to take one of those other die cuts here and put some glue on the back of it, place that down. That's just adding another gold accent piece to that fern looking leaf. Then I'm going to put down the butterfly in the same fashion that I did before, just straight into the middle. Again, I really like how it's sort of fluttering off. I'm going to cover up my smudge. So that's a 2 for 1. And then I'm going to use a larger gold pearl at the bottom, medium, and then small. And this way you can kind of see it looks more like a quote unquote body of a butterfly. So that's how I finished off that card. I decided to leave a sentiment off of this card because it's one of those I can just pull out for any occasion and use it. So I just wanted to keep a few of those on hand. All right, let's move into the last card that I'm going to make. And we are using our one that I used, the stencil with the embossing paste. I'm going to take my dabber here. This is still the clear sticky ink, but it comes in this dabber form. And I'm just going to wipe it along the edges. This is going to help me use this leftover piece of vellum on the top of my card panel. But because it's all vellum, I needed a little bit of something to help me put down some adhesive. So I put the gold around the edges to make sure that that helps with that, okay? I'm going to heat set that. Again, this vellum heat embosses like a dream. Like, I feel spoiled because when I'm heat embossing paper now, cardstock, I'm like, oh my God, hurry up. So it's just great. Now I'm going to, if you want a clean line of that, you can use that dabber with maybe like a ruler or something that creates a clean line, and you can just go straight across and get like a nice frame of embossing powder. I want to make sure I mention that because I think I thought of that afterward. I also still do like the vintagey look of it too, so I'm okay with that. I put down the first fern though, and then I put the vellum on top of that, and then we're gonna kind of pull this card together. Disregard that love die. I'm not using it. It was just something I thought I might use, but I felt it might overtake the card, so I decided against it. Then I'm going to place down a nice little gold accented leaf on the top. This way we kind of are pulling this almost three-dimensional, if you will. Once that's done, I am going to add a little bit of glue right to the top of this heart because I found that it was popping up and it was annoying me. All right, back to butterfly dies. I cut out 3. They're little, they're cute, but they do get lost on the card. They're very, very subtle. So I'm going to put them down, all of them. Now this is how I kind of hold it down with my tweezers right in the center just to make it stick. I'm going to take out some gold glitter pops of color, and I'm going to add some really fun accents to my butterflies. Now, not only just the center, but I'm also going to go back and I'm going to use very light hand as I squeeze the pops of color right around the edges of the wings. So that'll finish off that card as well. And you can see close-up pictures of that in just a second. So before I let you go, a couple things. I will list everything that I used below, as well as Juliana's link to head over to her channel, check it out. If you're not already subscribed to her, make sure you go ahead and do that. And just really be encouraged to pull out your stuff and have fun and get creative and just enjoy the process. I also have a new live class that's just been released. It'll be on February 17th, 2024. The details of that are below. It is, again, pay what you can, so there's no set price. It is for embossing folders. So we're going to be having a great time stretching our stash with our embossing folders in that class. All the details, things I used, all the good stuff, linked below in the description. I will see you all in the comments down below and in the next video. Bye-bye.